Welcome back to my channel, Star Booze.
Historically, Alan Jackson has been the perception of classic country music, and someone well known for his baritone voice, heartfelt tunes, and traditional family name. With his soft smile, cowboy hat, the lyrics to songs that are full of faith and love, he consistently came out as someone who'd everything together. Supporters saw him as the man who maintained his innocence and simplicity to the center, never participated in a scandal, and remained private. However, beneath that calm and collected picture, there were consistently people who felt as though something was being abandoned, unsaid. People were whispering to each other, not exactly rumors, but a lack of enthusiasm. What's secret life like? Was it all just as flawless as it seemed? When the truth is ultimately exposed, it's not what someone was thinking. A conventional symbol of country music. Alan Jackson was born to Daddy Gene and Joseph Eugene Mama Ruth Jackson and Ruth Music Jackson in Georgia's Newnan. Jackson was of 5 siblings, the youngest of whom was brought up alongside his 4 elder sisters in Athenry home that had been built around the tool she'd owned by his grandfather. The majority of the family was English. His mother remained in the tiny home until, in 2017, she passed away. In 1983, Jackson began writing music. However, his basis in music was established long previously. He was surrounded as a child by gospel music, but he became more widely known. He was first introduced to the country by a buddy. Famous people like Gene Watson, John Williams Jr., and Anderson. Jackson attended Elm Street Elementary before Newnan High School and eventually obtaining apposition in the Dixie Steel Band after graduation. At this point, he added to his blue-collar jobs, including building and a forklift passing by, playing in small clubs all the time, Georgia. Midway through the 1990s, Jackson was among the biggest names in country music. The Best Hits compilation was released in 1995, saw the release of 2 new songs and 17 hits, which both reached the top spot. His 1996 saw the number from the album Everything I Love, One Little Bitty, along with other prosperous hits, even if it also yielded his first Unmarried in Years to fall outside of the top 10. During 1998, High Mileage added, as it turned out, the money was right on the money. He made a stylistic change the next year. Use a disc and gamble with under. The influence of a typical nation includes that maintained his conventional look in an otherwise, country music was affected by pop surroundings. In an action during the 1999 CMA Awards that was either really audacious or Jackson, who was politically aspirational, disturbed George's performance Jones's decisions. Following, Jones's requested that his performance be shortened and left the stage at the start of the 2000s. Jackson persisted in upholding customs country tunes. He was with George Strait. Murder, a Lament was recorded on Music Row, regarding the nation's commercialization music. While not strictly speaking a single, the song created a lot of controversy. It sparked a great deal of controversy. Jackson continued to be a notable exception in an industry with a pop country tendency. After the 9/11 events, he placed Where Were You? At the time, the world ceased rotating, which struck a chord with it was a great success among Americans. Initially, during the live CMA Awards performance, the song rapidly became widely popular on radio. Broadcast and included on his 2002 release Drive. In the latter part of 2002, Jackson released his second album for Christmas, Let It's Christmas. Additionally, he sang a duet with Timeless and Timeless by Jeannie Kendall for her solo album, True Love. In 2006, he fulfilled his mother's wish by putting together the gospel album Precious Memories, sold more than 1.8 million copies. In the same year, he made his foray into a distinct tone, such as Red on a Rose, which Alison Krauss produced. The record deviated from his homeland. Beginnings in the direction of softer rock, splitting his supporters and doing poorly at the box office. He made his way back to his started in 2008 with Good Time, which featured a number of hits, including Small Town Sissy's Song and Southern Man, a devotion to a relative who haddied in a motorcycle accident. His Freight Train, the 16th studio album, published in 2010, and then the #1 on compilation album 34, which included his Zac Brown Band duet, While She Is Leaving. In the same year, Jackson and Arista parted ways, signed a new contract with EMI in Nashville. Nashville Records in a collaboration under his ACR label. In 2012, he released not one single from 30 Miles West placed in the top 20 charts. Then he released Precious. Memories is the second gospel album. Volume 2 and an album of bluegrass music, The Bluegrass Record, which both did well good luck with the country and bluegrass music. Charts. In 2014, Jackson was displayed in a unique way at the Hall of Fame for country music in recognition of his 25 years of employment. He started the anniversary tour of Keeping It Country and released his 20th studio album in 2015. Later that year, Alcohol and Angels. Jackson was chosen in 2016 to represent of the Forever Country's 30 Artists a Mashup project, honoring the 50th the Country Music Industry's Anniversary Association honors, solidifying his position as one of the voices that defines the genre in faith, family, country music, and companionship. Alan Jackson married a high school student, Denise, my dear, on December 15, 1979. The pair has endured a lot together, of both positive and negative moments during the years, establishing a beautiful family in the procedure. 3 daughters are theirs. Ali was born in 1993, Maddie in 1990, and 1997, born Danny. By December 2022, the family had become stagnant. Bigger when she and their daughter Sam, their spouse, welcomed their first child, making Denise and Alan proud with a baby boy grandparents. In 1998, their relationship encountered difficulties. The pressure from celebrity and a busy musical career putting pressure on the partnership, and the pair parted ways for a while. But they made up and are no strong ever since. In fact, Denise published a book that details their relationship. Everything about him. Discovering My Love Life become the New York Times bestseller. The book includes personal testimonies of the highs and lows of their relationship, what they went through, and how religion brought them together. In 2008, she came back with The Road, a second title. Home, which is a present book or memento. It's not just Alan Jackson's family member with musical talent. His nephew Adam Wright is a vocalist of country music songwriter as well. Adam and his spouse Shannon embarks on a duo tour as The Wrights. They even had the opportunity to record with Alan co-wrote What I Do, his album supplying backdrop and 2 tracks voices. Additionally, Jackson is a relative of ex-Brandon, a Major League Baseball player Moss. Alan made headlines in 2009 when he placed his vast 135-acre property outdoors. Selling Franklin, Tennessee for $38 million. Later, in 2010, it sold for $28 million, among the most expensive home sales around Nashville. In the same year, he bought a second home in the same suburb that costs about $3.6 million. However, he offered that one for sale as well. Sometime later, Alan was a friend with George Jones, another country music legend. He honored their companionship. In Don't Rock the Jukebox and other tunes simply play Possum. Jones passed away and Alan performed his timeless song, He, in 2013. At the funeral today, I stopped loving her, the Grand Ole Opry service. Additionally, he's George Strait's close buddies, and the two sung together in the well-known song, Murder, on Row of Music. Besides being a musician, Alan is an enthusiast for vintage automobiles. His assortment incorporates some of the most uncommon and priceless models, like a 1968A 1970s Shelby GT500 KR convertible Chevelle SS 396. He faces life in spite of the difficulties, with dignity and integrity. Criticism of You Were Where, When Everything Ceased Pivoting. Where Were You? By Alan Jackson. When the film world stopped turning was a poignant ballad following the events of September 11th, a sauce, but it was also charged with, it is thought, to be naive and not political. The one that is written within days of the assaults attempted to seize the nation's collective grief without leaving into remark on politics. I didn't want to, Jackson himself stated, compose a patriotic tune. I didn't desire it, not to be vindictive either. Such a tactic gained popularity among many, and the single gained widespread recognition and winning awards. Others still took issue with the music. In oversimplified problems. Jay Bartlett in Apoptosis Review retorted that the song honors its unwillingness to implement its beliefs, suggesting that it provided solace without investigating the underlying reasons or consequences of the incidents. Additionally, the song's phrase, I watch CNN, but I'm not certain I could identify the distinction between Iran and Iraq was observed. Jackson intended to portray the perplexity of regular Americans. Some thought it was indicating a broad ignorance of the world affairs. The song's reception was not all as well. In the 2002 episode of the show's creators, South Park mocked the song, implying that benefited from the national disaster. Despite the critiques, Where Were You is still an important component in Jackson's discography, which reflects the country's state of mind after 9/11. Its effects highlights the difficulties that artists encounter in dealing with national calamities, striking a balance between individual expression and public anticipation. Protest during the CMA Awards in 1999. While Country Music Association CMA 1999 AT the awards, Alan Jackson made a spectacular remark that resonated with conventional fans of country music. Therefore, instead of continuously denying the scar or trying to hide it with cosmetics or bandages, but he went above and beyond Alan Jackson. Wearing a cowboy hat, he no more looking back. What began as a ways to gradually hide a scar become his signature. Slowly, he was now a part of the hat. So much so that it is hard to picture him without it. Even his admirers would probably overlook something if he showed up without that well-known cap. However, there's then Errative. Have you ever seen him before? Lengthy. Hair that protrudes from beneath the hat's edge. It wasn't a style statement as well. It came about as a result of his life of constant travel. Jackson was traveling from one location to another and had very little time for haircuts. Thus, the lengthy hair simply appeared and proved to be a component of his relaxed image of the nation. Therefore, even if it can seem as if Alan Jackson carefully established his persona, long hair and cowboy hat, boots, hair, and a lot of it genuinely emerged from real life. Situations and individual habits. It only goes to show that occasionally the most recognized appearances come from the most. His health struggles in unexpected locations. Alan Jackson, a legend in country music, has long been well known for his heartfelt lyrics, cowboy hat, and genuine mannerisms. However, in 2021, he revealed an incredibly personal. He and Shum Marie had been at odds. CMT, a genetic neuropathy and dental disease illness for almost 10 years. While a revealing Today Show interview, according to Alan, I have this neuropathy. As well as neurological disorders, it's inherited. Things my father gave me. Although there isn't a remedy, It has been causing me trouble for years, and it's becoming increasingly noticeable. CMT affects the neurological system, which results in cause, weakened muscles, trouble walking, and a lack of equilibrium. Even though it does not shorten life expectancy, however, it can make everyday motion, like standing, carrying a microphone, or even just strolling, quite badly. Alan acknowledged that it wasn't that easy for him to publicly discuss this. "I've been reluctant to discuss this. I told my fans," he said. However, he sensed it. Was time, especially considering that fans were starting to notice variations in his performer on stage. "I'm currently having trouble balancing, especially in front of the microphone. I simply feel sound comfortable." Despite his condition, Alan said, he had no intention of calling any of his travels goodbye. In fact, he informed us that he is inspired by traditional country music. Legends like Merle and George Jones Haggard, who performed for as long as they capable. "I'll do everything I can. Alan said, beckoning admirers to watch when they can. They will perform with him. Alan has shyly reliant on his wife as well. For encouragement, Denise. Since 1979, she and her spouse have been supporting him during every phase, even writing a memoir on their love affair. "He picks me up when I'm feeling low. When he's down, I try to lift him," she said, addressed today. 2024 saw Alan offer an affectionate update to supporters saying, "I believe there is just enough time to begin think about hanging it up for good. It's worsening, and it increases Munisi on stage." However, in spite of all, his enthusiasm for his popularity and music have maintained him. Alan's tale is more than just one of a sickness. It is a story of fortitude, integrity, and choosing to move forward in spite of hardship. His daughter in the spotlight. The private life of Alan Jackson has often kept a modest profile and in contrast to his extensive country music profession, but Maddie Jackson, his daughter Seligman, made headlines recently for a few extremely personal and encouraging explanations. Maddie isn't just recognized as being the child of Alan. She has been published writer and advocate for women's rights. She established Nashville, a social media site for encouraging and enabling women, proving that her passions are not only associated with the nation royalty in music. The presence of Maddie hasn't been easy either. She lost her Ben Seligman, the husband, in 2018 due to a strange accident. The incident truly rocked her and changed how she views the world. Using Maddie her sorrow and recovery process in her work and penned a memoir in 2021. On Friday, I Called Lemons. The book talks candidly about religion, grief, and how she remained strong throughout challenging times. Additionally, it contains undertones of how Alan Jackson, her father, quietly inspired her during such a private issues, despite the fact that he is someone who emotionally keeps things to himself. The memoirs provide readers a glimpse into the family's coping mechanisms for suffering and recuperating away from the spotlight. Apart from fans of Maddie's story have started to listen to Alan Jackson's music again, using new outlook, questioning themselves if his songs have deeper meanings they were unaware of its existence. Titles like Daddy Jean's Drive and When the World Stopped, Where Were You? Making it seem easy at first, sincere, and realistic melodies about family and the attacks on 9/11, respectively. However, some individuals think that these songs might possibly be concealing more private information. Emotional encounters and disputes that Alan passed. The lyrics might not inevitably be narrating tales. They might be a reflection of Alan's inner difficulties and repressed feelings that he never discussed. This has created our renewed appreciation for Alan's music, while his admirers attempt to visualize how his art might have been a way for him to capable of handling and communicating. He was private. Despite his health renowned for his mellow tones and elderly school rural sound, It appears to be conscious that his songs include more depth of emotion than they seem to have on the exterior. It reminds us that beneath the stardom and smooth music behind, the facade is a person with his own story of adversity, love, and perseverance. Thus, in contrast to Alan Jackson's life and career has always had a lot to say. Individuals, the tales of his daughter, and thee. His songs' innuendos offer more depth to our understanding of him, not just as a legend in the country, but as a father, a man experiencing challenges, and as a complicated artist to be located. Considering everything we've discussed, ranging from disputes and critique of individual hardships and when family stories are told, one thing is evident. There is more to Alan Jackson than just a nation star of music. He is a multifaceted individual with strong convictions, a profound affection for custom, as well as a genuine, occasionally challenging personal journey. Behind the scenes, he doesn't hesitate to express his thoughts, even if it causes agitation. Feathers. Was it a protest? At awards ceremonies, leaving performances with which he disagreed, or releasing music that sparked controversy. Alan has consistently been loyal to what he believes that country music ought to be. That a certain level of candor may not make everyone content, but it does demonstrate how much he's interested in the genre. Meanwhile, Alan is more than simply a big-than-life celebrity. He is a husband, a father, and someone who has been discreetly handling a severe medical condition for many years. His marriage to Denise, his wife, as well as his assistance to his daughter, Maddie, reveals a different aspect of him. Amore, delicate. Personal side that doesn't make headlines all the time. What actually, the fact that Alan has never attempted is noteworthy, to pretend to be someone he's not. He hasn't either played the fame game or followed trends. Rather, he has left a legacy of sticking grounded, writing with passion, and letting the music speak for itself. In the whether you concur with all of his options or not, it's undeniable that Alan Jackson has made a lasting impression on country music. Additionally, as he confronts the future with bravery and a small amount of sorrow, followers worldwide will never forget the man in the hat. Not only his hits, but also his heart. If you liked this in-depth investigation and gained fresh knowledge, remember to give this video a thumbs up. It is a huge benefit to us. Additionally, if you wish to read more tales like this one, full with unspoken realities, music, and people, be sure to look behind the legends. Hit that and subscribe to the channel notification bell to ensure that you don't miss any update. We appreciate you watching, and we'll all see you at the following one.